I felt highly privileged to, to moderate that panel, and the quality of discussion was, very, very, very elevating, so to speak. It gave you hope that your continent does have hope. But let us move away a little from, hope now to the reality on the ground. We just had someone here who was talking about how, while we're still talking about investment on our continent and even in our country in particular, international attention was being focused on bringing back, Chibok girls, was being focused on the security situation in our country. How much do you think that affects, what is going to happen in the future? Because some people will say that the people who came to participate in WEF on Africa did not really participate in a real environment. We had to put so much in place to ensure that that happened. How do you see, that their commitment, or how do you see them overcoming the fear of a security situation, prevalent in this country or anywhere else in the African continent, and bring in their resources?
I'll answer you in three formats. One is that I had the president is under pressure. There's no doubt about it. He needed to protect the delegates, and he needed this welfare conference to happen. And thank God it happened. And of course, you can see the mileage. He has rallied around, world leaders round about his desire to deal with the issue of Boko Haram. If that was what this has brought on the table, it is an investment well made. Having said that, I just think that our security agencies need to up their game. That's what I just think. What is in shutting down a place and say you're offering security? What is that? Anybody can. If I say don't come to my house, it's protected. The more people, I would have thought that running that conference in a live environment. It was not a live environment. The whole of the Hilton circumference, as it were, was shut down. So I'm just wondering whether the visitors even had a glimpse of what Nigeria looks like in situ, as it were, in Monday morning or Wednesday morning or Thursday morning, how busy the environment was. But of course you can say that extreme issues require extreme actions, and they have to do that. You can't take the water away from them. But having said that, terrorism is not a local thing. Because Ramon Paul was interviewing the Prime Minister of Britain, and he made it very clear that this is not a Nigerian issue. These are the same guys that took on America. These are the same guys that are in Mali. These are the same guys that went to England, in Spain. It's just that this is not a weaker front, and investments are on their part to come into this environment. And they will be foolish to abandon Nigeria at this stage. They know that. I'm sure they know that. By the way, remember what I said. If money is not deployed, it loses value. So it makes sense for them to ensure that this environment is cool, so that their investments will always bear fruit. By the way, the Americans are engaging in Northern Elders Forum, and saying they're bringing investors and calibrating the environment. Boko Haram has taken a toll on it, and that's what I just think, that the Northern Elders, the Northern Governors, they should be able to see that you will not recover from this in a long while. To the earlier you come together to deal with it as a front. I've always advocated that there must be an educational emergency in all the northern states of the country. The root of this is when you don't place the right value on education. You will repeat 10, 15 years. I've always said it. What you're reaping in the Southwest today is the investment we made so many years ago. If what you're reaping what you're going to reap in the West is going to be the fact that there's a generation of people that are not allowed to go to school, and that's why the initiative, the Safe School initiative that came out of the business leaders in Nigeria, and kudos to Dankote, to Jimove, and to Obaibon of this day, and of course getting the support of the international community to ensure that we don't succumb to the pressure of these terrorists. because you will lose a generation of people if fear grips. You know what they say, fear has torment. If our people begin to be tormented that they don't go to school, it's going to become a major challenge.
What you're saying is actually a reality, because if we're to go by the front page of what's on the Vanguard, I'm afraid of returning to school.
Absolutely.
Abducted girl. I mean, that would definitely, or that could be the sentiment of not just girls, but perhaps boys, because let's not forget that, you know, some boys were killed in their sleep in Buniyadi in a secondary school in Yobe State, you know, also under a state of emergency. But how can we as citizens also rally support? Because one of the things that, yes, we are asking government, we are putting pressure on them to ensure that these girls return. But how can we also rally support for them against the terrorists, to send a message to the terrorists that we are behind our government on this one?
No, but you're not shifting this to the situation. But honestly, it's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. I'll tell you this. It is impossible for you to give a vote to a governor and say it's a security vote. You don't know the amount. He's not supposed to account for it. And when a security issue arises, you now ask us to be part of the solution. You give him a vote. You are telling him, we don't know what's going on. Then when the things go beyond his control, that's when we become important to you. We need to begin to ask the questions. What are you doing with the resources you get on a regular basis? And I've always said this.
You know, when you talk about resources, I want to go back to the plenary that was on unlocking job-creating growth.
Yeah.
Now, how President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, narrowed it down to agriculture, which he says can also help solve security challenges on the continent. How well can we harness all of that, knowing full well that, well, Nigeria is blessed with vast land in almost all the states of the Federation, going back into agriculture, living subsistence farming to real big time business in agriculture?
Now, before I answer your question, you need to also understand that welfare is for the big boys. This is it's not a platform for those who play small. I'm sure you'll have noticed it. A single ticket to that place is $5,000. That it clearly sends you the message. And people that have been there and those that are playing at a large scale. The agriculture that we are doing that before the revision of a GDP that had 40% is very subsistence. Any business you do and you sell it at the raw form is a waste of your time. You will always shortchange yourself, whether it's oil, whether it's cassava, whatever it is that you sell at its raw form. And that's why it's important to key in what the Promise of Kevin Kigali said, and at the same time the Minister for Agriculture said, the need to move agriculture from just being government an interventionist issue, attack of government, to a business where people will be able to know that, you know what, I can become a multi doing agriculture. And the issue here is that a lot of people who are doing agriculture we'll say 2 years, 3 years before now, are people that got retired, say from the military, retired as bankers. They have spent their best of years. They are working as agriculturists, in retirement, lost all the energy. There is no way these guys will champion us to the promised land.
So the small-time player.
The key thing here, and just to round up, the key thing here is to get the way somebody will get out of the school and work in a bank, dress up, and look forward to being a managing director. The same way somebody will go into a ministry, it's the same way you need to get your youth to embrace agriculture with the full essence, not because you're doing them a favor, but being essence that this is a credible line of business. I have a friend who runs a farm in Ikorodu. He finds it difficult to get his son, big farm. He retired from a bank, and of course he's aging out. He's asking, so can you get me? The guy said, listen, I can't get my tire jackets in this thing. And that's the mindset we need to change. It's agribusiness, as not just agriculture. And then teach them the value chain. You must convert cassava to sweetener. You must convert the tomatoes to tomato puree. And it must convert cocoa seeds to chocolate. It is in this value chain that it becomes a business, and people can now be proud to say, I am in agriculture because it has profited me.
Very quickly before we leave, how can we sustain all of these gains from this discussion?
Government and the private sector keep saying it must come together. there must be a platform of direct engagement to look at all the opportunities. Because, I mean, even there was what they call the new word from Okonjo-Iweala, which is the domestic direct investment. The Dangotes of this world are investing backwards. All the people that are coming from outside. I think the government must be able to, all the agencies of government must find and work with the people that, as it were, are credible platforms of this engagement with these international investors that are coming. They will definitely come. And I keep saying here, until there is a strategic arrangement where business can be solved in such a way that it will translate to an inclusive growth. You keep having a GDP that is running away at 8 to 10%, and yet the man on the street cannot have power to power his generator to vulcanize a car.
Well, Pascal Odibo, many thanks for joining us on Sunrise Daily. He's a business analyst.